Kathy, I guess Kathy can speak.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I've got a question, Darren. You said, can Gentiles receive the Holy Spirit? Yes, they can, depending on their method of approach to Judaism.
Yes.
What, like, there are people in Christianity that believe they are baptized in the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Well, Kathy, I would say that I think often, as is often the case, words have meaning, of course, as they obviously do. But you know, Kathy, that I say potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Christians can call themselves whatever they want. If they are, and I can't absolutely confirm that easily without having a number of things to measure it against, if they really have the real Jesus, whether they think so or not, if they do have the real Jesus, Kathy, they are effectively practicing a form of Judaism. The fact that they insist on calling it Christianity, well, that's an issue that I'm not going to get too hung up on. But my point is, Kathy, if you get the real Jesus, whether you know it or not, you are effectively practicing Judaism. Does that make sense? So what I was saying, anyone who actually gets the Spirit, and I'm not doubting Gentiles get the Spirit because obviously they do, whether they ever realize it or not, they are practicing Judaism. Now, all people like me are doing is to say, hey, don't be scared of that. Let me show you the beauty of what that is. But a lot of them are obviously kicking up against that and declaring they're Christians, whatever. And that's also okay. Here's where it gets dangerous. When you start kicking up hard enough and you start undermining the covenants and what God is doing on calling Paul a convert or Jesus started a new religion, then we can start putting a question mark, because effectively then you going to find yourself a Satan effectively, because you'd be opposing what God's doing. So Kathy, I leave that as a blanket statement because it's a technical statement I'm making, that if you've gotten the real Jesus, whether you think so or not, you're doing Judaism. Now, how adamant
Can
you fight that, you
can,
yourself.
can I just put in a little statement there that may dovetail off of that? Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom.
Right, yeah.
Jesus says in Matthew, some will come to him with the supposed Spirit and say, Lord, Lord, did I not prophesy in your name and drive demons out? What's Yeshua's reply? Get away from me. I don't know you.
Right.
So I think, although I understand that, I don't think everyone has the Spirit.
No, definitely not everyone. Not everyone who thinks they do. No, definitely not.
No. And another thing is more of a hopeful question. You know how Noah was able to take his whole family to be saved on physically? Can we do that for our family?
Well, Kathy, anyone can and should be priesting on behalf of their family, which can do a number of things, I would guess. It could give the Spirit a reason to try more with those people, even when they're being stubborn. It could possibly physically save their lives when demonic activity is happening, trying to kill them because they might be close to salvation. It can remove demonic blockages to them having Jesus revealed to them. You get what I'm saying? So you actually have multiple opportunities just in your own prayer life and your own witnessing to them and your own loving of them to open those doors up. But ultimately, as is even said in Judaism, each person will effectively have to answer for themselves. I mean, David had good sons, and David had sons that died terribly and were just evil people. So ultimately, everyone stands for themselves, but the agents of Messiah, of Jesus, become agents of the Spirit too, and the Spirit often will move us to pray for certain people or speak to them, and those become opportunities for them. But we must always remember those people have no more or less opportunity to connect with the one true God than we did. So ultimately, everyone has to answer for themselves. But yes, we become agents. I mean, Paul didn't get everyone saved he wanted saved. He says as much. Jesus either. So if Jesus can't even get it right, then you got to know there are factors that does include the person themselves. But Kathy, of course, we can do a lot. And there are testimonies of that. There's testimonies of husbands or wives praying for their partner for their whole married life. And, you know, after 40, 50, 60 years, salvation, you know, or the hope of salvation comes through. So no doubt we must, we have to, we should be doing it. And there's multiple ways we can do it. We are battling demonic forces. We mustn't forget that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for today. It is certainly so gives us another dimension, as you always do, to my understanding of things. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I've taken a lot of notes. And are you going to put this up on YouTube, did you say?
Yes, I will.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I missed a little bit when I was writing things down. Then it moved to the next thing, you know.
No, that's fine. It will definitely come on tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You do so much research, and I know that you already have a lot of the understanding anyway, and you choose to explore and expand what you know, and show it to us, and we're really at the privileged end. You do all the work, and we accept it and appreciate it.
Right. I'm glad to serve you. Like I've told you before, Kathy, I'm at your service.
Thank you so much, and bless you. And it was good. It was good. I'm just upset about my daughter in law that died.
Sure, I understand that, and we are praying for you, and we'll continue because it is devastating. It is sad. So you're allowed to be upset. That's a very good reaction.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you.
Okay.
And I always look forward to it. I think, oh, Friday night, tomorrow morning, we're on.
Good. That's
So,
right. It's the reaction it
yeah.
must be.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Dee, I think next is your dad.
Okay.
I think I've said enough, but thanks, Darren. I think what this issues of salvation have done, it was a great putting in a nutshell. You know, if you could condense everything that's ever been taught on RBS or the graph, then I think this brings it together. You know, if you've got a few minutes to share, this is a very good one, I think, to share with anybody with any interest in the issues of Judaism or Christianity, you know. And thanks for that. I think it's going to be a very useful tool.
Okay, awesome.
All right, Gary.
Nothing from my side. I think that was a fantastic session. But you want to say anything?
Yeah, I feel like I say this every time, but yeah, I'm still, what I love about this journey is that I'm still being challenged at the very core of my belief system, and what I've been raised with under a Christian viewpoint is in complete contention with what you're teaching, Darren, and that's actually really confronting, but it keeps me learning and growing. And I just found that really incredible. So I was actually, again, I was slightly offended right off the bat, and Gary and I talk, you know, discuss it through alongside you, and yeah, it's confronting, but it's also growth. And yeah, thank you so much for what you do, and as Kathy said, for, you know, the study you put in so that you can feed us, and yeah, incredible teaching. Thank you.
Yeah, and as you always know, I'm not above being challenged and even said, hey, you with the big mouth, prove it. You know that that's going to be a permanently open opportunity for anyone. I have if I've got the guts to say it, I should have the credibility to back up what I say. So you never have to feel nervous or bad about doing that too, because I should be able to. So everyone needs to know that you can ask me to prove what I say. I know a lot of it's controversial. That's definitely is because I understand what Christianity does. I
Yeah.
know where the nerves hit, and I think they need to be hit sometimes to get the story right. I don't undermine the experience that is for people. I know that it's gut wrenching, but it might still be necessary. So the best I can offer after turning your world upside down is to say, hey, we can still talk about it. And if I need to prove myself further, I can try and do that if it would work too.
That's what I find so incredible about your teaching, Darren, and just your whole approach to this ministry is that you do invite us to challenge you, which is so refreshing. And it's pretty much the reason why I love these sessions, because I know that I can always come on and say, no, I don't agree, or can you explain that more? And you're so open to that. And so I certainly know that I can do that, but I don't feel like I need to do that. I just feel like, okay, I'll accept that. And yeah.
Search it out for yourself.
Yeah, and
Test it.
as you're talking, I'm studying at the same time. I'm looking online, and yeah, it's so no, it's I feel completely comfortable now. It's just right off the bat, I was like, the word saved. I said to Gary, but aren't we saved? And what does this mean for salvation? And is it all wrong? And so now there's clarity around that. So that's awesome. It's great.
Oh, wonderful! I'm glad.
Okay, Dee. There was a question I had, and I was going to ask it earlier, but your discussion with your dad and your brother really kind of clarified it very much. So I think it was just the spirit really letting me get that. Because one thing I was getting throughout this teaching is throughout Christianity and just basically what I think gets misunderstood and gets kind of conflated with each other is these two terms that you spoke about earlier, basically salvation and chosenness slash covenant.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can, you can be chosen for something, but it doesn't necessarily mean you gain salvation from it.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you can have salvation, but it doesn't mean that you've been chosen for
Right.
or set apart.
Yeah.
So, and I guess what I wanted, you guys did clarify it in your discussion with your dad, but I guess I did want to I think the misunderstanding is I think salvation is actually a multifaceted question. If I
Yes.
say what is salvation, because what I'm gathering from listening to you and listening to Damien and listening to other Jews, also just you and your dad, also is Jews don't have one. Salvation doesn't mean one thing,
Yes. Right.
and a lot of what salvation even means is very much rooted in on earth and in this time and space,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Perfect.
Yeah, salvation is Israel having the temple back. Salvation is Israel, all of Israel, the Sanhedrin returning, and
Yes.
that's the Messiah ruling, and all of that is salvation, which is a completely different concept in Christianity.
Right. And that's the point, is that what Christianity does with that term saved is too reductionist, and they need
Yes.
to open it up more.
Yes, I think that I would love that being opened up more, and then also just covenants and chosen, because the apostles are chosen. No one else can do what the apostles had to do. Jews are chosen. Again, I'm using that word now in the safety of you explaining it a bit more,
Yeah.
so we know what chosen. But Jews are chosen or covenanted or set apart. Priests, your tribe is set apart from the other tribes of Israel
Yes.
because of this. That doesn't mean you're more special, more saved, or more important, or more valued. People are set apart to do certain.
If anything, that being set apart in that way makes life harder. You've got
Yeah.
less freedom. You've got harder judgment on you.
Yeah.
So it's quite the opposite of anything anyone would run after.
Exactly. You are going to be judged in I think it's the Bema seat harder than all of us.
Yeah,
because of your role as a teacher, as a rabbi.
right.
And that obviously it doesn't, because the mere fact that you're at the Bema seat means in a Christian sense you are saved. We can
Yeah.
use that just for sake of God.
Yeah.
But then the Bema seat is a whole another discussion of, okay, what are you getting?
Right. And the judgment would be heavier on teachers. Generally, Jews will be judged more harshly than Gentiles. That's a
Yeah.
fact. It's a scary thing, but it's a fact.
Would you even say, and I guess even husbands will be judged more than
Definitely.
wives?
Definitely.
Parents will be judged more than their children.
Right.
All these different roles that we played in our lives or playing in our lives, we factor in how heavy, the more responsibility and
Right.
quote unquote positions, the more, judgment. And again, more position for reward.
That too. That's definitely there as well.
But I never had question. I think even what your dad said, I getting all the benefits as a Gentile or a Messianic Gentile to be more precise, of all the benefits I think all Jews are wanting without having the responsibility. Not that I don't have responsibility, like
Yeah.
I do, but there's more bearing on you, your family than it would be on my family.
Definitely, yes.
And but then we are here to partner with each other, both play a role.
Right. Exactly. Too.
But yeah, thanks, Dee. We all enjoyed it here, and I hope everyone else has a great Sabbath.